So Guardians, I've got a build today for you, all for Corrupted GM. The Corrupted GM's got Arc Ben, and this build absolutely wrecks this GM. You're going to jolt everything, we're going to cause an absolute crap ton of damage with our grenades. Focusing on an exotic called Shinobu's Vow. I've covered this build a couple of times already, I just wanted to say, but this build is absolutely perfect for this GM. Not only that, it's not just an ability spam build, we're going to do loads and loads of damage with our weapons as well. I've got a perfect set of weapons for this, stay tuned. So Shinobu's Vow, what to do, it improves the skip grenade and you gain an additional skip grenade. Also, skip grenade returns energy when it damages enemies. These exotics are absolutely perfect for Arc 3.0 hunters and especially this GM. This is what to do. You can throw them down and it'll clear 3 or 4 enemies at a time. It's absolutely crazy and it makes the hardest part of this GM very easy. This is what to do. You can see that recharge, you just get loads of grenade energy back as long as you keep hitting targets, which you will do all the time. Look at the tracking on these. I've just got a couple of clips of the tracking. The tracking on these skip grenades are absolutely disgusting. Best tracking grenades in the game in my opinion. You throw them anywhere and they seem to hit something and jolt something with the fragments that I've also got running on this build. So you can literally just throw them anywhere and they'll track. They're absolutely disgusting, to be honest with you. They'll track like crazy. Little skippy trackers are absolutely fantastic. Just look at the state of that. All them numbers from one grenade. Spark of Shock is one of the fragments that you must run on this build because all them little skip grenades, they're going to jolt targets, so you're going to get loads and loads of jolting going on. And like I said, for the worst encounters in this GM, it makes it really easy. The elevator room, it just makes this room so easy, and that's one of the sort of hardest rooms in the GM. Just look at that, absolutely crazy. 2 skip grenades and a grenade launcher and you're clear. It's absolutely fantastic. And because we've got that Spark of Shock on, everything you damage with your grenade is going to be jolted. And then obviously we know it works, the jolting. You're just going to jolt everything by damaging targets and it all changes. Arc Super as well. The Gathering Storm on the Hunter is absolutely crazy for this GM. It has a decent area of effect and you do a crap ton of damage with this. It just clears out champions, bosses very easily. Some weapons I'm just going to go through now. Something like a Storm Chaser with Vorpal or Firing Line is really good. A Hothead with Lasting Impression is also a good option. We've got other arc linears in the game as well, like Soulsby, Pitch Glass with something like Focus Fury. And when you get to damage where you need it, this build doesn't let you down as well. If you can just watch this, I've put my Gathering Storm on there, that's going to do some damage. I've got my Storm Chaser, and you can wreck Sadia as well pretty quickly if you know the strat how to do the melt. These weapons and setup won't let you down. You can also throw a skip grenade on top of there as well. Another weapon that I like to run on this build is Forbearance. It's arc, it's got chain reaction on there, and this is absolutely perfect. But Dead Messenger is another option as well. And then on top of that, you can run Spark of Beacons on this build while you are amplified, which you will get amplified all the time on this build as well. All your arc special weapons create a blinding explosion as long as you get a kill. So you're going to be able to blind things on impact with Spark of Beacons as well. It's absolutely crazy. So what I'm going to do now is just go over my aspects and fragments on my Hunter. Yeah, it's my appearance customization just before I get into it, and I just want to say before I start explaining my fragments and aspects and my mods, you can always skip to the end. There's a build card anyway. If you don't fancy listening to this bit, that's fine. Tempest Strike. While sliding, activate your charge melee ability to unleash a devastating uppercut attack that travels along the ground. That also jolts targets. Flow State. Defeating a jolted target makes you amplified. While you are amplified, your dodge recharges more quickly. You are more resilient while dodging. Skip Grenade. I like to run, obviously that's the one you need to run for Shinobu as well. Combination Blow, Triple Jump and Gambler's Dodge. They're the obvious ones. The Spark of Beacons, which we've touched on. While you're amplified, your arc special weapons create a blinding explosion on final blows. That's really good with the weapons that we've seen. Spark of Recharge. While critically wounded, your melee and grenade energy regenerates more quickly. Spark of Shock for the jolting, and then Spark of Discharge. Arc weapon final blows create a Ionic Trace, and then Gathering Storm is the one I prefer, but Arc Staff is fine. I just prefer Gathering Storm. Now for my armor mods, I really like to run elemental ordnance on this build. You're going to get so many grenade kills, so you're going to spawn loads of elemental wells with elemental ordnance. It's an absolute no-brainer with skip grenade, Shinobu's vow. And I also like to run elemental armaments because I stick to arc weapons, so getting arc weapon final blows have a chance to create an elemental well. So you're going to get loads of elemental wells from your armaments and your ordnance. And then what I like to do is I run bountiful wells to double them wells up. So every time I create a well, you're going to get 2. I also like to run high energy fire to buff my weapon damage out. Like I said, it's arc, so an extra 20% on top of your arc weapon damage is crazy. And then elemental charge every time I pick them elemental wells up. It's going to make me charge well 8 times 2. That's going to help me with my high energy fire. And then I'm running weaken clear Lucian finisher for this season only. So back to some gameplay. I just want to sort of touch on some other GMs as well. I've used this build in every single GM since the Arc 3.0 rework, and it's absolutely brilliant in every single GM. I've not had a problem with it, even when it's void bent. These skip grenades and the jolting effects and the blinding effects from the Arc 3.0 are absolutely wonderful. They do so much for you and so much for your team. Just blinding things on spawn and jolting things on spawn is really, really useful. The Tempest Strikers, that's what I like to run, and that's going to jolt things as well, as you can see there. Just jolting them as they come out of the ground. It's a really nice touch for the build as well. Like I said, just for situations like this, killing things on spawn, jolting everything. There's loads of different weapons you can run with this build. I tend to stick with grenade launcher for my secondary, and something like osteo or something anti-barrier, depending on what GM it is. But for corrupted, this build is absolutely top tier. You won't have any worries with it if you go in there. A bit of practicing on the GM, it's absolutely crazy. And then just to sort of clarify again how good this super is, why I like to run it, this super, you can sort of put your super down and then do extra damage as well with your other weapons while it's ticking away. Another sort of option to use rather than forbearance is Witherhoard. Witherhoard, weakened clear with skip grenades also feels pretty nice. So the loop of play is just stick Witherhoard on there, get a weakened clear going, and then you got your skip grenades and you're just going to get yellow numbers for days. It's absolutely crazy. Look at the state of that, yellow numbers everywhere. That's the weakened clear, and skip grenades, obviously you get 2 of them as well, and it does work against champions. Obviously there's quite a lot of arc shields in corrupted as well, so it's absolutely perfect. And you take advantage of the Lucian finisher to give yourself and your teammates heavy, so you can go mad with your heavy, fire that at will, because there's quite a lot of champions here that are easily finishable as well. So that pretty much wraps up the video. Got everything sort of covered on here. I'll leave a dim link in the video description. Let us know what you're running in your builds for the corrupted this week if you're doing it. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great day.